In July of 1996, the Saguenay-Lac Saint Jean region of Quebec was enjoying a typical Canadian summer. The region's rivers and lakes sparkled under the warm sun, and the surrounding forests and hills provided a stunning backdrop to life in this close-knit community. But beneath the beauty of the landscape, an unseen danger was brewing. Weeks of heavy rainfall had saturated the ground, and rivers were already running. Few could have predicted that the peaceful waterways that defined the region would soon transform into deadly torrents, unleashing one of the most destructive floods in Canadian history. On July 19, 1996, the rains began to intensify. A powerful storm system settled over the region, dropping record amounts of rainfall. In just a few days, more than 11 inches of rain fell, more than the region usually sees in an entire month. The soil, already soaked from weeks of precipitation, could no longer absorb the water, and soon the rivers began to swell. The Sigui River, the Chicoutimi River, and the High River, normally picturesque and calm, were transformed into raging torrents, their waters rising rapidly and with terrifying force. By the time the rain stopped, the stage was set for a catastrophe. As the rivers overflowed their banks, the floodwaters began to surge into the surrounding towns and villages. Entire neighborhoods were swept away in a matter of hours. Homes, businesses, and roads were swallowed by the rising water, with the sheer force of the flood carrying cars, trees, and debris along with it. In the town of Chicoutimi, the River broke its banks, sending a deadly surge of water into the community bridges. Collapsed roads disintegrated, and residents were left scrambling for safety. The speed and intensity of the flood took many by surprise, and within hours, the Saguenay region was plunged into chaos. As the flood waters rose, thousands of residents were forced to flee their homes. In the dead of night, families gathered what little they could and sought higher ground, leaving behind everything they owned. For some, there was no time to pack. Floodwaters rushed into their homes, forcing them to escape through windows or climb onto rooftops to avoid being swept away. Emergency services, overwhelmed by the scale of the disaster, worked tirelessly to rescue those trapped in their homes. Helicopters, boats, and volunteers joined the effort, but for many, it was a fight for survival against the relentless floodwaters. By the time the flood had subsided, over 16,000 people had been evacuated from the region. One of the most devastating events of the flood was the collapse of the River Dam. The structure, overwhelmed by the surging river, gave way, releasing an unstoppable torrent of water that tore through the soggy region. Entire communities were submerged in, and the destruction was absolute. Roads were washed away, homes were reduced to splinters, and the landscape was forever altered. The collapse of the dam was a stark reminder of nature's power, and it sent shockwaves through the region. Despite the best efforts of engineers and rescue workers, there was little that could be done to stop the flood's destructive path. When the flood waters finally receded, the scale of the devastation was revealed. Over 10,000 homes had been destroyed or severely damaged, and the region's infrastructure lay in ruins. Roads, bridges, and railways had been washed away, cutting off entire communities. In Chicoutimi, where the River had caused the most destruction, the downtown area was submerged under several feet of water. Businesses were ruined, families were left homeless, and the region's economy was crippled. The emotional toll was immense as residents faced the reality of losing everything they had built over generations. In the face of overwhelming loss, the people of Saguenay-Lac Saint Jean showed incredible resilience. Neighbors helped neighbors, volunteers from across Quebec and Canada poured into the region, and the government launched one of the largest disaster relief efforts in the nation's history. Shelters were set up for those who had lost their homes, and emergency funds were provided to help people begin the long process of rebuilding. The flood may have devastated the region physically, but it also brought the community together in ways they had never experienced before. Stories of bravery and kindness emerged from rescue, with saving lives in the floodwaters to ordinary citizens sharing what little they had with those who had lost everything. The recovery process was long and difficult. In the years following the flood, the Quebec government invested millions of dollars in rebuilding the region's infrastructure and providing financial assistance to those affected by the disaster. Roads and bridges were rebuilt, homes were restored, and efforts were made to ensure that such a tragedy would not happen again. Engineers and planners worked to improve flood management systems, reinforcing dams and installing new infrastructure to better control the region's waterways. But while the physical damage could be repaired, the emotional scars of the Saguenay flood would remain with the community for generations. The Saguenay flood was a wake-up call for Canada. It exposed vulnerabilities in the country's flood management systems and highlighted the need for better preparation and response to natural disasters. Following the flood, the federal and provincial governments worked to improve early warning systems, flood mapping, and emergency response protocols. The disaster also sparked a national conversation about climate change, as experts pointed to the increasing frequency of extreme weather events. The Saguenay flood served as a tragic reminder that no region is immune to the forces of nature and that communities must be prepared to adapt to a changing world. More than 25 years after the Saguenay flood, the memory of that devastating summer still lingers in the hearts of those who lived through it while the region has rebuilt and life has largely returned to normal. The scars of the flood remain etched into the landscape and the collective memory of its people. Each year, residents commemorate the disaster, remembering those who lost their lives and honouring the resilience of the community that rose from the ruins. The flood may have destroyed homes and livelihoods, but it also brought out the best in humanity, reminding us all of the power of community hope and determination in the face of nature's fury. Natural disasters like the 2002 European floods teach us lessons that go beyond geography. They teach us about preparation, resilience, and the importance of working together. If you found this story insightful, make sure to like this video, share it to spread awareness about the importance of disaster preparedness, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most impactful natural disasters and how humanity responds to them. Together, we can learn from the past to better protect the future.